We have a really fun 1v1 going on here between me and Phoenix. Phoenix is quite a high-ranking ranked player in WARNO, so I was already kind of under the impression that this is going to be a tough one. And yeah, it definitely did. Well, we are playing as the US Mechanized, he's playing as the US 3rd Armored, so we definitely have, we have some more luck than him in terms of which map the random map picker went for. So yeah, I was feeling already a little bit better because of that, but you never know what's gonna happen. That said, a big thanks to all the patrons of the channel. I highly appreciate all of you guys, and feel free to downgrade or even cancel your patronage whenever times get rough. No hard feelings at all. I already appreciate you guys being a supporter, in the first place. So big shout out to all of you. Now with that said, let's get started here. So we are spawning a couple of LRS units. These are really good recon units. They're airborne, special forces, shock training, and they also have the GSR trade, which gives them better optics when they're standing still. And these guys are insane. Okay, they are insane. They have an M249, they have the M14, which is incredibly good against infantry, and they have 4 Colts, or 4 M4s as I like to call them. And yeah, 70 points, they come in the Humvee, so that's 90 points, but as soon as you refund the Humvee, I mean, there's only 70 points for a really good elite squad. So we have 3 of these guys going to the front line. They're going to try to go for these buildings in the center on the left zone. We have our OH-58C, which you can spawn basically at the edge of this shoreline, which is quite funny. But that's where you can spawn helicopters if they're forward deployed as well. And that guy's moving up. We have 1 command going to the left, and then he is going to fast move over there. And then we have a big force that is following up on the left side as well. I'm going really conservative on the right. We have 2 engineers that are moving up, and we have a couple of AT infantry as well, and 1 PVAT. The rest is all moving to the left, because that's where I need to fight him. If I fight him in the forest, it's just going to turn into, him spawning in tanks versus my infantry, and I'm going to lose that. So my startup plan here is already to move up to the left and just try to secure the left as good as I can, and then maybe commit into the right side, or even by taking the left, force him to commit to the right side. So we're going to keep it in neutral, but before we do, we can quickly, or we're going to keep it in my point of view, but before we do, we can quickly go into his point of view. And he's doing the same thing. He has LRS, because these are simply enough, or simply put, the best recon units, and we're literally putting them into the same buildings, which is kind of funny. And he also has some Bradleys. These are quite expensive, 120 points each, so that's 240 already. And he has military police with the recoilless gun, and also an M1A1 that is coming in. That is elite because of this command tank. Okay. Now speaking of command tank, that guy's moving to the right side, and after that to the middle. And he has 2 PVATs, and also 1 military force. So he's really going light on the right side. I could have probably done a ton more damage if I just moved up at least 1 unit forward. So that might be something I do next time if I'm up against someone on this map. Just have 1 guy, immediately just attack move as far as he can and see what he can do. So let's put it back in neutral mode. LRS are opening up here already. So that's going to be LRS versus LRS gang. Over here we have caught these guys out in the open, so we're going to take much less suppression thanks to the building cover that we have. And the M249 and the M14 are just immediately destroying these guys. Like, it's not even funny how fast that is. On the left side we also are in the building first, and the LRS is getting stunned before us, I believe. That is going to help us out big time. But here's kind of a toss-up to see who's going to win and who's going to get routed. Now I do have some units coming in. We call in F111C or F with a lot of bombs. That is going right on top of the LRS and the military police, and that does quite a bit of damage. Most of those bombs unfortunately do miss, and unfortunately we do lose the F111. Now on the left it's still kind of a toss-up between who's going to win. I'm just hoping that our guys don't give up unless the mechanized rifles get there. And speaking of, we also have some on the right side. Or we're going to fall back on the right side. The M67 together with the LRS, they are nasty. Recoilless guns and a sniper. That's not going to do well, and they are managing, or they did manage to destroy my infantry there, unfortunately. Now having 2 M1A1s, definitely not the best situation for this poor M60. We get hit and we smoke. That is all we can do. We can't take on these guys. Now on the right side there isn't really anything going on for the moment. It's really just down to the LRS here, trying to hold on for as long as possible. And somehow, the military police is firing the M67. Okay, I was gonna say at in the same building, but that's not the case. They were firing at these guys here. Now with that, we do get a command in the zone to neutralize it. He is up 51 points, and the point difference, I believe, has to be 100 for there to be a winner. Otherwise, it is a draw. So far, so good. So we are getting a lot of refunds here. Every Humvee is 20 points, which is really, really nice. And that is going to help us out big time. Now Bradley tries to give some fire support, does destroy the LRS squad that I have. The mechanized rifles fling an RPG or AT weapon, the dragon, but the rocket hits the side of the barn there. I don't even know what these are. These are like industrial complexes, just garages, workplaces, I'm not quite sure. Now on the left, Chaparral eats a Totu. Definitely not my best micro with my AA. And that halves my AA over here on the left. We do have luckily one more Chaparral. And we have a lot of supplies, so these guys are getting nicely supplied. And now we have an extra supply that is lying around. So what we're getting next is some M60s. And also some more infantry. So we have a lot of LRS still in our bank, so we're getting 2 more. And we're also getting Rangers. And Rangers are also quite insane. They're basically LRS, but without the M14, and instead they have another M249 and also AT4s. Now over here we're making a little bit of a push, and as you can see, that does force him to spawn in quite a few units on the right side, including a Tow Cobra. And that is, I mean, that is a big response to us engaging a little bit here. I was just trying to probe into the zone here, get a command in and just hold, just to get the points ticking again. Now over here we are gonna do something very funny. I was playing this live on Discord. We unfortunately do not get a side shot with the mech rifle, but now I'm just trying to play hide and seek with our command vehicle here. So this M1A1, this M1A1 is basically trying to hunt down our command, while our command is just trembling in fear. Luckily we do have LRS coming in together with Rangers that have AT4s to try to save the day. M1A1 targets on the left, but before he manages to get a hit, we hide behind this building and we get a nice AT4 shot onto him. Mechanized rifles once again opening fire, missing for the 3rd time, unfortunately. But hey, the command is alive. The command is alive, and he's being very ballsy with this command tank to try to push me out of the zone. And yeah, that is gonna... That's quite a risky move there. That's not something I would do, but I'm also not the best player ever, so... He definitely knows something I don't. I by no means am a really good player. I would say I'm about just maybe a little bit above average. There's so many more people on my, even on my Discord, in the community that are just so much better, and I play around with them quite a bit just to learn what they do to improve myself further. One mistake that I'm making here is not focusing enough on armor, but we get 2 beautiful AT4 shots there, which really made my day. Now on the right side, we have a nice little PVAT position there to destroy the Tow Cobra. That was quite an expensive investment from Phoenix that got wrecked. I think that's like 130 points. But his engineer units are definitely doing a good job. So we're going to have to replenish that right side. So we get our own engineers with Flash to counter his. It's really just rock, paper, scissors. A better unit there to counter with would be a tank. But that would probably motivate him to buy some M1A1s. And I really want to prevent there to be a tank battle in the force on the right side. So for now we are +4, mainly because we take over the right side and we have neutralized the left. But here come the mortars with the really interesting art they always have. I love to see that. There's so much more verticality in this game. I can really appreciate that. Now Rangers with the M249s and the LRS with the M14s, they just devastate helicopters. It's so good. These LRS units might actually be my favorite recon units to have in the game. Now mortars, luckily, aren't going to do much against my CPC here. Quite, you know, 1 armor all around is good against mortars. You will get stunned or panicked a little bit, but most of the time you should be fine. Now we have the 50 cal from the M60 firing away at the Tow Cobra as well. Together they brought him down to 3 HP, which I'm actually impressed about. So that's altogether not bad. Now we call in 2 of these OH-58Cs to take care of that guy. And we get some laser guided bombs on the right side that I believe took out some squads there. But we do unfortunately lose our plane. Now the command did its job. The PVADs are actually, you know, mowing down engineers. I wish the PVADs did a little bit more damage against infantry. Maybe just a little bit more. But then again, they might be overpowered in forests. But yeah, with that, we have our own engineers moving up. Command here is gonna be in a really bad position because of these M113 ACAVs that have the 106mm recoilless gun and also the M2 and the M240. So really good against infantry and something armored. So we're just trying to get the hell out of there and just hold that position. Meanwhile on the left, the tow cobra is now down. The OH-58Cs fire 2 sidewinders at him, and that is doing the trick. Rangers with the quad M249 between them are just destroying the aero rifles. And on the left we have a Bradley that is going to be up against her AT4s, and we one-tap him, and we have our M60 that took out a supply truck. Now meanwhile on the right side, I'm just moving up my M113s to give some fire support with the 50 cal. Really good units to have, especially in these scenarios. And look at how much suppression they take from all that. It's quite incredible. Now M1A1, not the best little toss-up here. We did get a good hit with the M67. Oof. And even if we miss, we do quite a bit of like panic or emotional damage on that guy. But luckily we have 3 M60s and at close range, light tanks reign supreme. Now he's down to 7 HP, he's quite panicked, so I am quite comfortable with moving in my M60. We get into his line of sight, we open up, and that guy is done. Bailout on the M1A1, which costs how many points? Like 240 versus 95. Jeeps. I can almost buy 3 M60s for each one of his M1A1s, so that is kind of how I was hoping to play this game as well, by using a lot of light tanks and just getting all up in there. And just use that, you know, the kinetic bonus that you get. The closer you are to an enemy tank with a kinetic weapon like this, the more damage it's gonna do. There you go. Kinetic energy penetrator. Now, does it say? Okay, it doesn't say here, but basically any tank with, you know, that has high explosive anti-tank weapons will do more damage at close range. That's just all you need to know. What else does it say here? High explosive, kinetic. Okay. It's interesting and nice that they put a lot of information here. I like that. Now the mortars are caught out in the open because we kept pushing with rangers. Supplies there get doinked. M60 is actually hidden nicely between buildings, which I definitely need to train myself to do more often. Like put a tank right here, just to, you know, look that way. And if you see something that is a bit too troubling, just get out. Now at this point I am doing something that I usually don't do, which is just to send it forward. I really don't do this enough after I destroyed a couple of units. It's kind of the fear of the unknown. You know, thinking that the enemy still has a lot of units there, or potentially does. But this time I kind of broke through that fear and just, again, yeet my units forward and try to do as much damage as possible. That makes him buy an Apache worth 175 points, which definitely is a little bit of a yikes moment for me. So we're gonna have to deal with that very, very soon. Now Phoenix is buying more M1A1s, because I think that is just, well, that is the 3rd armored. But he's not buying any infantry to try to contest my infantry. And somehow we get 2 very nice Chaparral hits. Which usually doesn't really happen, two in a row. 55% accuracy is actually not too bad. And I believe the Apache has some ECM. So we got really lucky there. Now on the right side, what he's doing is something I feared that he would do earlier, which is to move tanks and Bradleys through the forest. So we have an M1A1 HA Abrams, a very heavy boy, 24 round armor, 21 AP, and also an ACAV recon. Yeah, really good recon unit actually. Good optics, mediocre stealth, but only 35 points, and it's a transport for one of your recon units. Now over here we unload the M67s, having spotted the Bradleys fast moving towards our spawn. Unfortunately we don't hit this guy. We do hit him once, but we don't finish the job. So I move one of these guys into the tree line, and we just try to pincer move with engineers and mech rifles. Beautiful ATGM hit from the Ito I put over here, because I already kind of knew that he was going to pierce through this area, and we get a nice side shot from the M67. Beautiful work. Oof, and that ATGM barely misses. Really nicely done by Phoenix here of trying to pierce through, but we just had a really lucky ITO position here. Now the M1A1 does get out in the open there, and we do fling another ATGM at it, but luckily he falls back. Now over here, Engineer Flash doing a good amount of damage on the fire teams, but we lack close range anti-tank, which obviously is going to be bad for our health because he has a lot of Bradleys. That's not good. But we have the middle, and that is kind of my trump card here. The middle needs to be held. If he puts a command in there, he's going to be +1, I believe, which cannot happen. On the right side, he has neutralized it. We're quickly trying to find that command. Toe Cobra is hanging out while the OH-58C spots him, and then we're just going to move into a firing position because we just can't fire through all that forest line. We're moving to the back here to try to take that out, and we do, before an Eagle comes in and takes us out. That was a very lucky little engagement there. So the plan on the left is not to hold in the zone, but to cut off these bridges and deny him any possibility of trying to push back from them. So that is going to be the main play here. We're going to try to put units here, here, and over here in these industrial areas, and just cut off the entire islet. Now a Wild Weasel and the F-15 being used in tandem, very nice little combo there. We do call in our own F-16, or our own ASF I should say. We deal quite a bit of damage on that F-15, but just not enough to take him out, and our AA in the middle is out of supplies. We just simply didn't micro the supply truck next to it. A seaplane comes in, almost takes out our PVATs, which is indeed radar guided. And now there's an A-10 problem on the right side. Poor Black Hawk is getting blasted by the GAU-8. They're definitely not having a fun time. So let's go back into our point of view here. Weasel still going crazy, finally destroying a PVAD. He actually destroyed 2 of them with 2 Weasels. And I don't know if there has been a silent update on seaplanes, but they definitely seem more capable these days. That is a cool little cinematic right there. That could be the intro right there. That looked cool. But yeah, on the right side we are now just kind of hanging out. We just called in our F-16. We make the A-10 leave, and after that we just evacuate because, well, we know that he has a lot of planes. And we don't want to deal with that anytime soon. Now over here, we have our supply situation slowly being sorted. We called in some arrow rifles to push forward, and in the meantime we also pushed up our LRS and Rangers a little bit, and I try to keep these guys together with also a light tank and one of our supply trucks. OH-58C flinging a Sidewinder, almost hitting him actually. I am impressed, but the Chaparral here is still out of ammo, and he does the right thing to just fly around and waste our missiles. Oh, we finally get a good hit on him. Do we actually take him out with a Shap? Nope, the OH-58C does. Very nice. They're really underrated. So at this point, after that plane is gone, we get our 2 F-16s purchased. They're just going to be on standby, and on the right side I'm basically trying to contain the damage. We need to hold this open field here. You might think that's not a good idea against an armored guy. Well, this range is only like 2 clicks. So if I put tanks here, we have our own M1 A1s. If you put like a firing line down here, anything that comes over this road is going to get blasted. That's at least the plan here. So we spot a command, and that triggers our movement here of troops. Arrow rifles are moving forward. We also have our mechanized rifles here getting repaired. And we have a lot of empty supply trucks and even units that have no ammo. So one thing that I might do in this battle group is definitely maybe put a FOB in there. But then again, an FSP takes a lot of units away from your startup group here. Well, having spotted that, we see 3 M1A1s. We get a beautiful side shot from our own M1A1 here. And let's see if another shot finishes the job. It does. That is one guy gone. And over here, the M1A1 here is getting side shot like crazy and gets absolutely just destroyed by the M72s and M67s. And the fire teams here are, yeah, also not having a great time. Apache being called in on the right side. That needs to go immediately, otherwise it might spot the command. So we call in both of our F-16s, kind of into a suicide mission, but we know he's gonna spawn in planes. And the thing you want to do after that is either immediately evacuate or, you know, just go for it. I kind of knew that he was gonna spawn in planes, so I evac the one that is hurt, and the other guy tries to take on the incoming F-15, which he unfortunately does not. And he manages to take out the one that I evacuated earlier, and yeah, now he's trying to engage the other F-16. Luckily, we get a really nice shot on him, so we both kind of traded with 4 HP left. So all in all, not too bad. F-15 or F-16 for an Apache, I'm happy with that, because he doesn't really have many Apaches at all. So yeah, the M67 is out, but we still have the arrow rifles with the 72 Law, and we break through the corner there, and now we are basically going to set up a perimeter to deny him to move in more forces. And he's doing the right thing by attacking the right. He definitely has better tanks. He has the HA there. He does 1 damage, or he does 2 damage. I only do 1 damage, so I do have to fall back and purely play this based on numbers. There we go. Yeah, we're just moving our units into good defensive positions on the left. We still have a scout heli here that is keeping an eye on this open field. And that should do more than enough here. But he's not happy about that. He moves in a wild weasel, not quite sure to do what. And we get 2 beautiful hits from our chaparral, and we take that guy out as well. I was actually surprised by that. Now the only things we really have left are mech rifles. These guys have medium range ATGMs. I definitely need to get fire team ATs. That is something I'm going to get in this battle group, because I just lack the short range anti-tank units. I have arrow rifles. They're nice to have in helicopters. It gives you a lot of maneuverability. But sometimes you need the AT4 with, you know, better accuracy and AP damage. So M1A1 is spotted. 2 tanks versus 1 is a trade I'm willing to make. He does doink our tank quite badly, but we hit him enough for him to fall back a little bit. And we get a supply truck to heal these guys up. Now over here, we are not going to stop. We're going to keep creeping up and get to these key intersections here. But before we do that, we need to supply these guys. Look at the timing of our spawns. We need to get these guys back on health and ammunition. A lot of these guys are out of anti-tank, so they're literally kind of, well, useless against armor. And with the help of this M1A1, we finish the job. But we do get clapperonied by this M1A1 there, because we simply moved out a little bit too much. And we try to get him out of his range and back into the forest. We call in another M1A1 to try to do some damage, but he one-taps our tank at max distance. That is kind of nuts. That is how strong these M1A1s are. Oof, we missed that ATGM. He's also quite panicked, so he's getting some beautiful shots in. Now an M1A1 command is being called in, that immediately tells me to buy an A10, and we're going in for that bastard. Excuse the language, I got a little bit too excited there. It's kind of nice. The US mechanized is really strong. You have really good infantry, you have good tanks, you have good, amazing recon, I should say. And yeah, it's kind of just nuts. But look at this infantry that is trying to creep up with the M72 Law. We're going to try to get a beautiful shot on him. Get a beautiful... Is that a rear shot? That is a rear shot. We get him in the booty with the arrow rifles, and they are now elite. Look at that. Another M1A1 destroyed, OH-58 destroyed by the A-10, and we almost gunned down their A-10s. Man, that would have been a beautiful little fight. We get our own F-16 out, and we just need to take this guy out, because that is really the only dangerous unit that he has left against us, apart from more tanks. I'm just going in for him. That needs to go. I don't mind losing it. I don't know how this Eagle actually managed to hit all those, since he is completely stunned. But lucky shots right there. It's not over yet. He could still turn this around quite a bit. Now, one mistake that he really made was to attack one unit at a time instead of building up. Because right now, that's kind of what he's doing. Every unit that he spawns in just goes to their front line immediately instead of building up a little bit further behind. That's what I would like to do. In hindsight, it's always easy, you know, to give pointers, but he's a really good player, so he knows what he's doing. Now, this Apache here, still a problem. We don't have any AA, we have a PVAD that is being spawned in. And he knows that I like AA, so he's doing a really good thing here with this Apache. But me spawning in a plane could definitely ruin his day. So engineers are moving in. These guys are shock trained 10-man squads with the M47 Dragon, not the Dragon 2, but the regular Dragon. Really bad anti-tank, but they are shocked units. They're shock training. So they take less suppression. And I was up against these guys with my regular units, and man, they just clap. So the Apache does fly a little bit too close to my arrow rifles, and we have two M60s. That is doing quite a bit of damage to him. Luckily for us, what we're trying to do is not push forward, we're just trying to defend. That is definitely an easier job than attacking. We get two really beautiful hits on his M1A1, bringing him down to 50% health. And another one shows up, he hits us, we hit him, and we trade with 1 HP each. Or 2 HP damage each, but mine are veteran while his are rookie. I don't know why he only goes for trained, I should say. Not veteran, but trained. Kind of interesting. I kind of called him rookie, veteran, elite. So I guess, yeah, that's rookie training. Don't call it trained. Trained, veteran, and elite, but I'm not quite sure. Basically, one star veterancy is what I would say. It's a little bit low with tanks, don't you guys think? It's not really about the accuracy, but it's like the suppression, recovery, and like the suppression you take. It does quite a bit for armor. Now another M1A1 being called in here to try to contest the right side. He has a really nice aerial insertion of arrow rifles coming in into this nice little field here. That just looks beautiful. And with the help of the Apache, he almost does take out my arrow rifles here on the right side. And we try to stop it with our Fighting Falcon, but because of the mountain, we couldn't get a good gun run on him. But don't worry, the OH-58C with its miniguns come in and save the day. And keep that Apache stunned. That is just hilarious. I do wish there were some more smaller maps for 1v1s, because this map is really fun sometimes, but it does get a little bit repetitive. We finally get a PVAD. We got dual PVADs routing the A10 immediately. Doing a ton of damage as well. I just have a newfound love for PVADs. And also the Vulcan AA guns. Now on the left side, we are just going into containment mode. He does have arrow rifles on the left. He has 1 arrow rifles on the right. But I don't really need to push there right now. We're still +3. And we have a nice little block going on here for all the major roads that lead into the left zone. So we're doing really nice here. I'm just fully defending at this point. I'm just playing it nice and smart. Wild Weasel comes in for the PVAD. Luckily for us, it misses with its 40%, 50% accuracy missiles. And we have an OH-58C with Sidewinders. Or Stingers, not Sidewinders. We get a nice little hit there, and we actually finish the job with a 80-point helicopter. Really, really underrated, as I said. Definitely get these in your battle groups. They're just really good, quick reaction AA helis. Now here we go. We are just trying to do an attack here, trying to bait in his tanks into the open, because we're still just chilling with ours. And that kind of works. M1A1's here, trying to stop this push on the right side. Command is a little bit, you know, out in the open there. Definitely not a good thing. We drop our laser getter bomb on his command position, only does 1 damage. It's mainly meant for infantry and stuff, not really for armored units. Unless the armored units are already heavily, you know, damaged. Dual mechanized rifles, are we gonna get a side shot? Oh man, that would have been beautiful. We get a nice little kill on that. I'm not quite sure why those guys moved up. And the rest of our M1A1s are now engaging his M1A1s in the back. A10 coming in. Getting a nice little kill on that. Destroying another one. And then evacuating. And the F-15 is then immediately called in to engage our guy. But before that happens, our opponent surrenders. So really good match. Definitely enjoyed this. US mechanized, really, really strong. And someone did comment asking that I should, you know, if I were to play with this anytime soon. And here you go. So yeah, US armored versus US mech. I kind of had more luck with the map. If we were to play on some of the other you know, maps that are selected for ranked, I would have definitely had a bit of a harder time, especially if he just whips out M1A1 HAs everywhere. But look at how much damage that guy did, destroying an M1A1 as well. And all the Bradleys would definitely have been better on other maps because of the 80 gems and stuff. So, but yeah, all in all, really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope you did as well. And if you did, do all the good stuff down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.